The following story is a work of fiction. Any resemblance of characters or events to real world events is purely coincidental. The Tooth Fairy. So, I live alone with my son, and right now he's at the age where he's starting to lose his baby teeth. So one day I sent him to school as usual, and I went to work as I normally did. Had a typical day at work, and then as I went to pick him up from school in the afternoon, he excitedly ran up to me and showed me that one of his teeth that had been loose for some time had finally fallen out. He kept it in his pocket and then he removed it from his pocket, handed it to me. And because he had already learned at school about the tooth fairy, he was so excited for her first visit. I, of course, really excited to give him the full experience of that. So I put the tooth in a plastic bag and placed it on the pedestal next to my bed when I got home. That night, as he went to sleep, I made sure that he was fast asleep, and I got out a 10 from my wallet and placed it where the tooth had been, and I took the tooth and put it in a tin. I was so excited to show him when he woke up in the morning, so I went to sleep. But the next morning when I woke, I was excited to see the reaction on his face when he saw the money. But when I looked over, the money wasn't there anymore. I quickly went to the next room, not to dash his dreams, got out another 10 from my wallet, and quickly placed it there as he woke up, so at least I still got to see his full, happy, organic reaction when he woke up and saw the money. But something still bothered me. Where did the other 10 go? I figured that I may have knocked it off the pedestal in my sleep, knowing, of course, that this was highly unlikely, because I did move the pedestal, moved the bed, and even looked under my wardrobe, but I couldn't find anything there. Looking in my closet, however, when I went to go and fetch my clothes, I did find something. It was the tooth. I rushed over to the tin and opened it and found it empty. How did the tooth get from the tin into my closet? Being extremely paranoid, I looked everywhere. I freaked out. I opened every door in the house, every room, every cabinet, every closet, but I found nothing. I went about my day as usual, but deep down, something was bothering me. Was there someone in my house? At work that day, I was visibly distracted and everybody could see it. Everybody could notice it. I wasn't really there. My body was there, but my mind was at home, wandering through each and every room, playing back each and every time that I went into that room and opened that closet just to see if there was something that I missed. Some minute detail that I might have overlooked, but honestly, I was baffled. So when I got home from work that day, I entered the house as usual. My son entered the house. He ran in all excited. I closed the door, and as I sat down thinking what to cook for supper that night, I heard a rattling on my roof. Now, for context, I have a lot of stray cats that inhabit my backyard, and they often have squaring up contests for the female cat's attention. So it's not uncommon for them to fight on my roof and to battle, but something about this instance sounded a bit different. It sounded a lot a bit bigger than just cats fighting. And normally when they fight, there's the aggressive sounds that they make to accompany their fighting, but this was just a quiet rumbling on the roof. There was no vocals involved in it. Just a rumble. So that night we had supper as usual, did our nightly routines, had a bath, and then when it was time for bed, got into bed. And it was a rather windy night, and the leaves outside were rustling. So I just sat up. I couldn't sleep. My son had fallen asleep, and I just lay there, listening to the rattling of the leaves outside and the wind howling until the wind started getting incredibly strong, and the howl got even louder to the point where it even startled my son awake, and I had to comfort him and put him back to sleep again. But then I heard again the rustle and rumble on my roof. So something inside me told me to just go and look. at the window. And when I looked out the window, I saw a shadow. And this is quite bizarre. But, I'm used to normally seeing the shadows of cats as I look out the window. But this shadow looked a bit bigger than a cat, a lot bigger than a cat. And the shadow was climbing on top of my roof. Like I sat there and I froze in fear because it was climbing on top of the roof of my home. And it almost as if whoever was casting the shadow turned their head and looked towards me and could see me peering through the window. And as quickly as that shadow turned to look at me, so quickly too did it take off, barreling, jumping over the fence and into the next yard, and that is when I made it out. It was a person. I quickly grabbed a flashlight and something told me to look inside the attic. Now that is one place that I never ever go into my house. I've always heard rambling and rustling noises coming from there, but I always assumed that it was just a mouse or birds that had gotten into there or something. So I grabbed a flashlight and I climbed up. It was kind of scary because I had never climbed up in there before, and I have a bit of a fear of heights. So I climbed up into the attic and I slowly crawled, making sure not to step on the wrong places for fear of falling through the attic into my own house and having an embarrassing incident. And as I progressed further, I went to the room, to that part of the room where I saw the person on the roof. And that is when I saw it. In the corner of my attic, a blanket, a lamp, and old cans of food. This person had been living inside my attic and somehow sneaking into my house at night, possibly even watching me sleep. And on that night, this person decided that they were going to be the tooth fairy. Or should I say, the reverse tooth fairy. Beware of what happens around you. Stay safe and take care.